So it's a few hours until the Sophie Cunningham, until the Fever play the Atlanta Dream. The Fever play the Atlanta Dream in a couple of hours, and Sophie Cunningham is a player that is going to be big for the Fever. Look, Sophie Cunningham's super important. She's their main backup point guard. She's an elite backup defender. She has switchability, and ironically, she's somebody that I would trust almost guarding a Brittany Griner. She's played against Brittany Griner in practice so much. So I stand by it that like she can be good as a switchable player on the guards. And I do think overall that that Sophie Cunningham's going to be an important player. But playing against the Atlanta Dream tonight is an interesting one because they're going to need someone on Ryan Howard. They're going to need somebody on Alicia Gray at times because they're going to have to play huge minutes. And Sophie Cunningham is going to be an important player. She went from out to questionable, and she is actually participating in shoot around. I would like to have seen maybe a bit of a better angle of this, because if there was a better angle of their shoot around other than just a picture of Sophie Cunningham, it would be a little bit better because you could see if it turned out that, it was all starters Sophie Cunningham and Coulson wearing navy. If it was all of them wearing navy, then obviously Sophie Cunningham, you would assume she's playing because she's with the starters. And they have gone at times like starters and a couple of people on the bench, but obviously maybe it's not quite the same as Christy Sides where it's evident who the stars on the bench are. But yeah, it's a genuinely good sign for the Fever. And look, even if she doesn't play today, they play the Atlanta in Atlanta very soon. The scheduling conflict is happening in a few days. The scheduling conflict is happening. Let's not forget that. The scheduling conflict is happening. The Atlanta Dream owner wants those Caitlin Clark fans gone, but when Caitlin Clark comes to down, there's a scheduling conflict and the game's pushed to a 20,000 seater stadium. Like, it's genuinely it's what we're expecting. It's what we can expect when it comes to WNBA. Like, Gamebridge is now unsafe, but the only people that Gamebridge is unsafe for, and I don't mean the arena. I mean the 94 feet by however many feet. What is it? The couple of 1,000 square foot of a basketball court. For the Atlanta Dream players, that couple of 1,000 square foot, it'll be unsafe because you're coming up against the damn Indiana Fever team. A Fever team who are going to be firing on all cylinders, who are going to be putting the pressure on, and who, again, they did go and lose in preseason. The Dream lost in preseason in Atlanta. In Atlanta? I think it was in Atlanta. Dream lost in preseason and Brittany Griner didn't play, but look, I was watching the game down the stretch. Brittany Griner was absolutely like the main reason they came back in that game against the Mystics. But to say that Brittany Griner was not a big reason why they were down is also wrong. It's also wrong. But if the Fever can go and win tonight, if they go and can get a second dub tonight against... Look, they made the Sky look bad. Sky aren't bad. The Sky are not that bad. The Fever made the Sky look bad. And I have a feeling... The Atlanta Dream, the only problem with the Dream is that literally the Dream could... they could just hit shots. They shoot 43 pointers a game. Like, they genuinely might just start hitting shots. And if they just start hitting shots, then there's nothing you can do. Like, if they go and shoot 50% from three, it's game over. Doesn't matter if it's the Fever, doesn't matter if it's the Liberty, doesn't matter if it's the Lynx. If the Dream start shooting 50% from three, it's over. And you could be facing the worst team. Like, the Fever are not out of this game until it's over. And the Fever have not won the game till it's over with a team like the Dream. And having Sophie Cunningham helps because if things aren't going well, she can be a person that injects energy into the team, just like a Sydney Coulson can. Bree Turner again could do a bit of a job on Brittany Griner. Like she could genuinely do a bit of a job on Brittany Griner, and it's a it's a it's a good thing for the game. It's a good thing for the Indiana Fever, who I think are going to go 2-0. And if you're the Indiana Fever, your goal is to win as many games early. Because if you look at the Fever schedule, you play the Dream twice. I've always said this, is that like it's going to be hard to beat the Dream twice, purely just because of how they play. If you at least come out with the win at home, you can afford to lose one of these. Like if the Fever somehow come out 3-1 from their first 4 games, it is a big success. Because again, the Dream, you just never know. The Fever Liberty, that's a big one. What you don't want to do is come into that Liberty game 1-2 and having to beat the Liberty. Ideally, if you're Indiana, you want to go into that game 3-0 and blitz them and go 4-0. But I think because then you have a decent run of Mystics, Sun Mystics, and I know the Mystics are better than we thought, but like the Mystics are not as good as the Fever. The Mystics might take one of those games. You shouldn't lose to the Sun, but the Sun could be a really awkward team to play because Leah Boston's going to set her career high. Why do I say that? The Sun currently employ Tina Charles. If you guys know anything about last year, I'm pretty sure that she played Tina Charles 4 times and set her career high twice. And she set her career high twice. Leah Boston did last year. And yeah, it's a big one. And I really do hope that we see Sophie Cunningham play, because the only question mark is Coulson running the show. But Coulson's so much of a pest on defense. And if Sid Coulson isn't running the show and Coulson's playing as like a secondary ball handler and just pest on defense, it can really, really help the team. So yeah, that is it, lads. It is looking quite likely that Sophie Cunningham is playing the game. She participated in shoot around. Nothing was said. She was updated to questionable last night. And yeah, I would say it is almost a certainty. I'd be 75-25 that Sophie Cunningham plays. Because let's be real. I'd say if they felt like they needed her against Chicago, probably would have played. So yeah, let me know what you guys think is going to happen in the comment section below. Do you guys think that the Indiana Fever are going to win the game? Do you guys think it's going to be a tough one? For me, the Dream sometimes guard themselves. It just comes down to what the Dream do. If the Dream are hitting their shots, there's not much not only Indiana can do, anyone can do against the Dream if they're hitting shots. But also, if the Dream are not just hitting shots, I can't see them beating the Fever, especially if Sophie Cunningham plays.